show per day, or maybe two, to make fortunes. I mean, this guy, the guy I'm telling you about, he has a flat in Covent Garden. He managed to pay himself a flat in Covent Garden.
I know how much they are. They're pretty expensive.
So that should tell you that if you're a good busker, if you're a good entertainer, and everything is rehearsed. That's why I'm telling you that I'm not a professional, because every single thing that they say is rehearsed and is said for them to prompt you to give them money. So what they use, for example, is they always take a little child in the crowd, because all the mothers would be, oh, you're so cute, and they would ask you, for example, they would say, I'm giving you £5 if you carry this for me, or if you give this item to me while I'm juggling, for example.
Wow.
And then at the end, it says something like, okay, I give you this £5, but I'm sure your parents would be proud if you gave it back to me in my hat at the end of the show. Or they would say something like at the end, you just had 1 hour of entertainment, and do you guys go to the cinema? Have you been to the cinema recently? It costs maybe, I don't know, £40 or £50 to bring your whole family to the show. So what's £5 in comparison to going to a cinema, or going to the theater, or going anywhere, even in the zoo? You need to pay so much to get your children out there. And people actually give, because they hear so many reasons, and then he always says, I'm only doing that for a living, so just give. And all this, I say it bluntly like this, but they say it so that people actually want to give. And they really managed to have a contribution of £5 from a lot of people, and even more. I mean, some people really enjoy the show and they give more because they feel that they had great entertainment. So that's what Circle Lights do. And then, so that, I mean, normally a passing by act wouldn't make as much as a Circle Lights. But sometimes if you have a band, or if people do like a party music, then maybe they're going to have a crowd around them who wants to party. And the DJ actually who was hosting us the first week in Sydney told me that they used to busk with the band that he had, because he's also an organ and piano player, in the streets, and they would make, I don't know, maybe $250, $400 a night, just playing 2 hours, 3 hours, doing like a street party, if you want. And so, I mean, I never made so much, but just seeing the first dollars coming into my hat on the first day, I was like, okay, that's not much. I made $10.85, but it's going to be better, I'm sure. And it's also like refreshing to see people giving you money for your voice, or for your music, or just because you entertain them. I always was in the circuits where you play in bars, especially in London, for example. So you for 30 minutes, so you do your show 30 minutes, and nobody cares. Everybody drinks his beer. They don't give a shit about the act who's playing. And to see actually people giving money when I played so many times for free in bars and never was rewarded for it, and the bar wouldn't even give me a beer, So
you just played your music and you just left, and that was it. But when you were the busking, there was much more. What I got from the video, people were telling you, you really sang nice. I mean, there was a guy who actually he was writing a letter to you. I remember.
Definitely. So my thing to actually get people to notice and get people to stop. I had this cardboard. Actually, just before I went to Australia, I had like a goodbye party with close friends in Paris. And I said to them, so what would you do in my place to actually attract contribution from people? Because I'm just singing, but you need to make them laugh. You need to do something that will make them contribute. And a friend of mine said, well, why don't you put some sweets in front of you, and say to people, help yourself, and maybe they will feel guilty, so they will give you something. I didn't do that. I didn't try this technique, but it was maybe a good idea. It's to be tested. Then I can't remember what the other said, but one stuck with me, and that was, well, say something like marry me, and help me get back to France, or marry me, because it's very hard to immigrate in Australia.
Right, right.
So you always have this issue with visas and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he thought it was a good idea. And I actually did this cardboard. So I took a cardboard in the street, and I just wrote, help me get back to France, or marry me. And I put coins, notes, and love letters, and I put a little arrow so that people could put money in my hat.
Yeah.
And actually, some people took it seriously and really wrote me letters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
remember that. Obviously a joke, but that was the whole point of it. So I wanted to know. I mean, I had maybe more than 50 wedding proposals while I was there.
15. Wow.
But it was the funny part of it, and people would tell me things like, "Can you mow the lawn? Can you cook well?"
Seriously.
Then I'm married.
That's mental.
But that was the whole point. It was have fun, really, to have fun.
So you deployed different, like different resources, basic resources, just to raise money, and you saw it happen right in front of you. And the reason why I say that is because I know most businesses, they have office, they have business cards, everything around them, utilities, everything, internet connection, iPhones, and they still can't make money. And like, you're out there with basic stuff, and you can raise money. And this is, and most of my audience, they would understand this, because they will try and get funding and get themselves into that loop of having to pay back whoever this funder is before they even make a profit, and before they know it, they're out of business. You just done this from your own back. So this is just really exposing the fact that being entrepreneurial, you don't have to have the big shiny stuff. You just need to just get out there and do something.
And yeah, but sometimes you don't even need a plan, a business plan.
Oh no, definitely. Oh no, definitely not. I mean, you can't business plan it.
Maybe I should have, because I could have maybe found sponsors to for the trip, maybe even for my loop pedal. I mean, or someone could have provided it, or for my amplifier. I mean, I could always have found people. And what I didn't find before I went, which was really a shame, was a producer.
Okay.
I had to pay all of the production costs of the camera and everything. Myself, and that really left me without a penny, because when you realize the production costs are really, really high. And for example, I had to pay, so I didn't pay my camera operator, because I didn't have money for that, but I promised her that I would pay her fees while traveling. So all our traveling costs, all our food, and well, of course, she was sleeping at the same place as me every time, so we wouldn't pay anything for the couch surfing side. But yeah, so that put a lot of pressure on me, and I actually lost money only on the producing side. If I just counted the money that I made on my own, I could have repaid the ticket back to France. But if I counted what the cost of my camera operator, then I didn't make any profits on the production of the video documentary. And right now, what I'm trying to do is to actually sell this video documentary. My dream is to actually go all over the world to do that, and to actually see what it's like in other countries.
From what I've seen, I think you need to approach. I think you can approach specific people who want to illustrate that even with as limited amount of resources that you get, this is like the in a way an example of what entrepreneurialism is. Mm-hmm. So I think all you need to do is just once you approach the right people, they would definitely sponsor you or do some kind of license where you will make something from this. Because I watched it, I'm thinking, wow, this is exactly what people need to see. Because like I said before, people always they find excuses. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm thinking, well, okay, then watch this then, and they'll be like, whoa. Do you know what I mean? So I think you've got something there. So although you've lost money on the front end, you may make money on the back end.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to film it, even for my fans. I mean, I don't have a lot of fans, but I have some all over the world.
Yeah.
And I just wanted them to share this experience with me, because that was as much like in French we say un saut dans l'inconnu. That means maybe like a plunge into the unknown.
Right.
And I had no idea how much I would make, if I would survive, if I could pay for my camera operator. I just went for it.
Yeah.
Just being completely crazy, maybe. I don't know what drove me, but I told myself, well, I have this visa, because the story is also that I had a visa which would be not valid any longer, which wouldn't be valid any longer if I didn't take it before the 12th of May. And that was a traveling holiday visa. No, sorry. Now I'm all mixed up with French, German, and English, because I live in Germany now.
Okay.
A working holiday visa, that's what I mean. So I had one because one of my exes made me take one. He wanted us to go together in Australia and work there during a year. Okay. And that's how I ended up with this idea, because at the same time there was a conjunction of factors, if you want. I had this visa. Yeah. I wasn't this guy anymore. I started using a loop pedal, and I found a loop pedal that had batteries, which is very essential to go busking, because you can't rely onto any electrical current.
Yeah.
So I had to have some batteries that could be rechargeable. So I had to plug my charger every night so that the batteries wouldn't would function.
Exactly.
The amplifier was a gift from another ex that actually bought it for me, so it would work with batteries as well.
Okay.
And all of that together, I mean, when I went, I think I had maybe an hour of songs.
Yeah.
And along the way, I added maybe 15 more minutes. And when you're busking, sometimes there were pretty silly rules in Australia. You can't busk more than half an hour in some places, sometimes not even more than 20 minutes.
Okay.
And sometimes it's a pretty harsh world, because if someone is there already occupying the place, then you can't go. I mean, you need to go somewhere else, because you're going to cover them, or they're going to cover you with their sound.
Yeah.
So it's the same, if you want. It's a very competitive world, which is the same in entrepreneurship. You go against people who are competing with you. So
yes.
And even though the product is not exactly the same, I mean, it's still singing at the end of the day, and it's still trying to get money from people, and in my case, to survive out of it. But I was very lucky. I mean, Australian people are very generous. I have no idea if this would be the same in another country. In London I made £4.20 in 1 hour, but I wasn't in a good spot.
Right.
But I don't know how much I would make today if I went busking there. No idea.
Well, you can say due to the economy that it may be different, but
not necessarily, because if you look at the subway, for example, the tube. There are still auditions by TfL to actually busk in the tube.
Serious? Okay.
And I always I'm from Paris initially, and I lived there for 29 years.
Okay.
In Paris, people play their own songs in the tube, and I don't know if you've noticed, but in London it's only covers. Because people just go there to make money, because they want the tourists to give them money.
Okay, so they go for the easiest route.
Yeah, and I even saw an article by a journalist once, I can't remember what it was, but I'm just going to go for a pitch in TfL and in the subway, in the tube, and see what I can make. So I'm going to learn the best songs for buskers, like Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles, or just things like that. And
right.
See what brings me the most money. And he said, Here Comes the Sun is definitely the song that brought me the most money. And I can't remember what the others were, but Yeah, it seems like there's a formula in England that's